Greetings, citizens of the interweb, it's Matt from Hydro Gaming, here this week to present a great big showcase of everything new in our single-player medieval fantasy RPG that we're creating using the power of the Unreal Engine. Today, I've got a lot of new things to show you. From the completely rebuilt horse mount system, rebuilt user interface, improved dynamic weather effects, some post-processing updates, NPCs, crafters like blacksmiths and alchemists, and shopkeepers, and finally, building interiors. So, as you can tell, it's going to be quite the episode with lots of new stuff and some before and after footage so you can see just how much our game has evolved over the last 2 years. All this and more coming right up. Roll the intro. So let's start off with the all-important mount system. So, creating a rideable horse that 1 worked and 2 actually looked good took a pretty long time, almost as long as creating the swimming system did. Let's start off first by talking about what exactly our horse can do. First and foremost, thanks to the complete RPG system, we can summon our horse from anywhere on the map simply by whistling. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, that is about the only feature from the horse riding system that I kept. It was just way too blocky for my taste, and with all of the custom functions already built into the included system, it was just way easier to build my own from the ground up. So first of all, of course we created a system that uses root motion and inverse kinematics. We've done everything else that way so far, so I figured why stop now? Now if you're new to this series and haven't watched the root motion inverse kinematics episode, I won't go too deep into explaining the difference between regular movement systems and root motion movement systems. I'll just show you how the mount system originally functioned versus how it does now. Moving forward, another component I was sure to add to our mount was, of course, swimming. And don't worry, it wasn't as intensive as initially adding swimming to the game was. Because I'd already built it for our player character, for the most part, all I had to do was copy and paste over the code and update the animations to fit our horse as opposed to our humanoid character. That's right, they swim now.
They swim now.
They swim now.
What can I say, our old user interface was the default one from the complete RPG pack. It worked well for our purposes, but it was pretty basic. And one thing you'll need to know about me is that I'm a sucker for experience bars and sound effects. I like to see the progression of my character happen before my very eyes. As such, I added a great big in-your-face experience bar to the bottom of the screen, and a Fallout-esque chime, that can be disabled by the way if you don't like it, that will go off to let you know when you've earned experience. Beyond that, all of our stat bars have been redesigned as well as the minimap and compass layout. Next thing we're going to work on is the inventory interface, as it is still the same as the default one for the complete RPG pack, but we'll get there when the time comes. In the meantime, however, please enjoy this meticulously curated montage of the evolution of our user interface.
I will remember.
As for the updates to our weather system, we made some minor adjustments. First and foremost, snow cover and wetness now affect all objects and characters in the game world rather than just the ground. For example, in the last version of Knightwatch, during a snowstorm, only the ground would get covered in snow. Now everything from the trees to the character's horse gets covered in snow. No Rockstar-style hyper-realism when it comes to certain horse appendages in the cold, but I think this was a welcome change. Beyond this, I've created volumes that you can enter that switch up the weather and ground effects. In practice, these will be used based on altitude where, for example, the higher you climb up a mountain, the snowier it will get. As far as post-processing goes, I've added some ambient depth of field effects to the world to help with performance and to make distant LODs a little easier on the eyes. Essentially what this does is applies a slight blur effect to anything 1 kilometer or farther away from the character, so you don't see the jagged edges of lower resolution / faraway objects. It was this, or have objects stay super detailed in 4K no matter how far away you are. Seeing as I want this game to run on computers under the $10,000 price mark, I went for the former over the latter. NPCs have now graced the world of Knightwatch with their presence. As you know, we've been toying with NPCs here and there for a pretty long time now, but after a lot of iterating and bug fixing, they're finally ready to join us here in the game world. NPCs can serve as enemies, companions, guards, townspeople, crafters, merchants, and more things that I'm probably forgetting. They've got their own inventory, supplies, and money separate from the player character, so you can engage them in trading, and hopefully sooner rather than later, you'll be able to steal from them using the stealth system we designed. We'll see how long it takes me to make the theft system. As far as schedules, the NPCs don't really do much besides walk around at the moment. They don't even know how to use doors anymore, since we've gone from the Witcher style interiors where building interiors and the overworld were part of one big level, to interior mechanics more akin to games like Skyrim and Oblivion. Now, we'll fix the door usage when we come to it, but for now, this serves as a good segue into the next section of the video. Holy crap, I hated building this. You wouldn't believe the amount of bugs I encountered trying to build the interior transition system, but I'm glad to say it finally works. What was happening was when I would click on a door to open it and be transported to the building's interior, I would get a message saying that the target destination didn't exist, which of course it did. Turns out this is actually a problem with Unreal Engine and not the way I was building the system, so I can at least be happy about that. Anyways, I found a workaround on Reddit and the interior system is complete. So the way it works is the exact same as Skyrim or Oblivion. You walk up to the door and click a button to interact with it, and then you go inside the building. Same thing in reverse to go back out. Now, I planned on having some of the interiors nicely decorated for this video, but unfortunately I got so busy creating other systems in the game that I just never got around to it, so we'll save those for a future video. At least the hard part's done. Anyone can throw down some random 3D assets for set dressing inside buildings, so it shouldn't take me too long. Now, as you know, my main focus of these videos is creating game systems and mechanics for Knightwatch that directly relate to gameplay. More specifically, the systems required to make the game complete and playable so I can finally release the Knightwatch demo. But this time around, I wanted to take some time to make Knightwatch a little bit prettier. Now I hear you saying to yourself, but Mr. Gaming, I thought the game looked pretty good. That's where you're wrong, my friend. The game only looked good because there was nothing to compare it to. So let's take a look at how the game environment looked a year ago compared to how it looks now. I think you'll find that the differences are pretty significant. Now, I won't interrupt this bit with my constant commentary because I want you to fully take in the step up in visual fidelity, but just keep in mind that the biggest change here was simply lighting. People often forget about how important post-processing effects and lighting are to how a game looks and feels, and we should remedy that. Anyways, let's have a before and after, shall we? I hope you enjoyed this episode of Knightwatch A Journey, and we'll see you in the next episode where I plan to work on building interiors, quest systems, and maybe take a second look at our combat systems. If you found any of this entertaining or informative, please consider subscribing, dropping a like, and commenting down below something you'd love to see added to the game. If your idea gets selected, not only will you receive a shoutout, but I'll name either an NPC or a weapon in the game after you. Anyways, until next time, have a good one, and we'll see you in the next video.